Good morning and welcome to Today in L.A. I'm Mike Amos. He's Bill Rice Jr. and we start another work week on this Monday, the 16th day of September, and we're moving right through. And of course, had some great football this past weekend, and we had, of course, Troy lost a heartbreaker 47-42 against Southern Mississippi.
One player beat us, didn't he? So
yeah, and you know what? He's a player that actually previously had committed to Troy.
I remember Mike saying that.
Good morning. You're on Today in L.A. How you doing?
Hey, morning.
And you might got to get the mic on, don't you? Sometimes you just forget, even though you've been doing it for a long time. Tell us what you did, my friend.
Well, yesterday was Carrie's 38th birthday, my wife. So we had a little birthday party for her. I've been fighting a bad summer cold, so and I'm hoping to go to the beach later this week, and I hope that I'm better by the time that rolls around.
That will be. Of course, we had a lot of good football.
And I watched a lot of football.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, just to relax a little bit. But of course, I was out at the stadium where we had another big crowd. I want to say they thought it was around 27,000. A pretty good crowd for a
They
series.
saw maybe the best game in the country. What do you think, Mike? As far as offense.
I was impressed with the crowd. Of course, nobody really goes to the seats on the other side. A lot of people standing in the end zone. They announced the crowd at over 27,000, saying it was the 5th largest crowd in Troy history. So, of course, that was helped by about 1,000 high school band members, I guess, throughout the state of Alabama that were sitting in the end zone. But, great game. But Southern Miss, I don't think Troy has gotten to that level yet. They just look faster and look bigger, look stronger, and unfortunately, nobody talks about it, but when you lose 6 guys that were starters that could have come back and helped that defense, and either to transfer or not making grades, it's going to be a long year. I'm already hearing people talk about the Corey Robinson days at Troy, when we had unbelievable offense and no defense, and you put up 47 points to a team that only scored 15 against Mississippi State. And then Mississippi State turns around and loses to Kansas State, which shocked me.
No, they lost. Yeah, that's right. Kansas State's pretty good.
I could have pictured that one. It was shocking, but it was not terribly shocking.
Tommy Stevens played the first half, and then Mississippi State brought in a freshman quarterback because apparently Devontae Thompson, who transferred and then went back to Mississippi State's hurt as well. But, Troy loses B.J. Smith, possibly for the year is what they're saying.
Running back.
Troy runs a reverse pass back to the quarterback. B.J. Smith's open, but he overthrows B.J. Smith, but the guy's also wide open in the end zone. That's definitely a play Barker, I know, wishes he had back, but Barker was unbelievable. 29 for 43 for 504 yards. It's a school record at Troy.
And 4 touchdowns, wasn't it?
500 yards. Had 4 receivers over 100 yards. Wow.
Defense gives us 630 yards.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about your points a lot, Mike. You've been harping on this all preseason. The attrition that Troy has gone through on defense, and we saw it. Yes, Saturday. That's right.
Well, Mike, you got to look at it. Three starting defensive backs were not in that game. That would have been starters if they would not have transferred, not have made their grades. Marcus Jones, kid was a freshman All-American out of Enterprise at Houston. Tyler Murray was a starting strong safety. I don't even know where he even went. And then you got Terrence Dunlap, who was a starting cornerback. He was one of the best players ever in the state of Alabama out of Maplesville. He didn't make his grades. And then Tyler Knutson started as strong safety 3 games last year as well, had to end his career due to injuries. So that's 4 guys on that defense that would have been back.
And
how about your linebacker that went to Colorado State?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're not even counting that. I'm just counting defensive backs. Tron Folsom led the team in tackles 2 straight years. He's at Colorado State now. Of course, Colorado State is awful. They gave up 55 points to Arkansas.
Alabama might have a little bit of the same issue. Alabama is so thin on the defensive line, and they got LeBron Ray got hurt early in that game against South Carolina. He's a good big-time defensive lineman, but only one of two Alabama really has. And once he went out, South Carolina was knocking off 7-8 yards every time they ran the ball and passing consistently with a pure freshman. So it looks like Alabama's going to be in a situation when they play good teams, they're going to have to outscore these teams to win the ball game.
I was looking at
Yeah, I mean, LeBron Ray came out last night on AL.com. I was reading an article that it looks like it's going to be season ending. So it looks like he's going to be out for the year.
That might be the year for Alabama then.
Alabama cannot catch a break when it comes to defense right now, but I watched pretty much most of the Alabama game. You'd have to tell me more about the second half because I'd gone out to watch Troy play. But, I mean, Alabama, Tua, I know, threw for 444 yards.
I'm looking at it.
And 5 touchdowns. I mean, South Carolina was just no match. But when they play a team with a really stout defense that can, stop the run, and, Alabama is just going to have to throw the ball all season pretty much.
South Carolina had 86 offensive plays. They were running the ball and passing the ball in the second half. Alabama with LeBron Ray out will have to start another freshman defensive lineman. So that'll be 4 pure freshmen starting on defense.
Boy. I don't see how they're going to do it.
I don't see how they can do it. I mean, unless Tua can score 50 points every game.
Against South Carolina, Tua threw for 444 yards or somewhere in that neighborhood, and 4 or 5 touchdowns. And I tell you, you look at South Carolina, and they rushed for 135 and passed for 324. I reckon that's this freshman kid.
Second start. Yeah.
Second start ever, and he throws for 324 yards against Alabama.
Yeah, like I said the other day, I think Jake Bentley, he's probably going to be out for the year. And I think they know who their quarterback is for the future, so you'll probably see Bentley transfer out somewhere next year.
Yeah. And then Troy losing their best running back, and they're going to have to either bring somebody out of red shirt.
They also lost Fry. Fry's hurt as well.
Oh, no. What are they going to do?
Well, that's
they
why
got
they're
one
playing,
running back.
DK Billingsley so much to get out Scottsboro. He played pretty well, but they're having to bring in that freshman running back out of Gaston to get a couple carries late in the fourth quarter.
Well, we say that he played well.
The biggest play in the game is Troy runs the kickoff back. Reggie Ty goes 70 yards for a touchdown. And on the next play, Troy's kickoff guy kicks it. And Jalen Adams, I mentioned it before, he's a kid out of Minor High School. I used to work, with the coaches at Minor. They were in Nike school. And they told me point blank, this guy's one of the fastest guys in the state. He doesn't have the grades to go to an SEC school, but he's got the talent. And he had committed to Troy. Is a done deal. Signed with Troy. And on signing day, his mom decided she didn't think Troy was big enough. And he ended up changing his mind on signing day and going to Southern Miss. And all he had was 11 catches for 180 yards. And also like another 100-yard kickoff return and then like some other all-purpose yards. He had like 350 all-purpose yards against Troy. He was phenomenal.
Oh, boy.
One player. And he was fast. The next
play after the kickoff, he runs it 100 yards for a touchdown.
That just turned it all around. You're exactly right.
Special teams, now I think a lot of the times kick coverage teams are getting used to either the ball going out of the end zone or the other team fair catching it, and I get the feeling that they don't practice the live kick returns as much as they maybe used to.
Troy had so many chances. Troy, gets down 14-0, comes back, ties it up 14-all, and they had the ball to end the first half. And we're moving a little bit. Next thing you know, Tyler Sumter comes in and didn't punt well at all. Averaged 37 yards a kick, and he's usually in the high 40s. So he doesn't really get a good punt off. And next thing you know, Southern Miss scores on a field goal right before the half and goes up 17-14. So Troy comes back, takes the lead, goes up 21-17. Troy is about to go up 28-17, but instead Sumter comes in there and misses a 32-yard field goal. So that field goal before the half by Southern Miss, and then the chip shot field goal Sumter.
6-point turnaround.
You know, that's the ball game there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, little things like that.
And he's supposed to be a guy that can kick on Sunday one day, but I don't believe so. He's just not consistent.
You can't miss a 32-yard field goal. That was huge.
And then, you're exactly
momentum,
right.
it was huge.
Yeah.
Well, Troy had all kind of chances to win the ball game.
And of
I
course,
I don't know what you do though if you're Chip Lindsey. Though I mean, it's one of those situations where I don't think the other guys are even ready to play. I just don't think there's enough depth on defense. I mean, like Carlton Marshall is going to have 150 tackles the way it's going. He had 16 tackles.
he is a great linebacker.
Adam McGill-Tillin, then Will Cholo is the defensive lineman that nobody can block. He had 10 tackles from a defensive line position, which is unheard of.
That's good.
And that is, you're exactly right.
And then Vegas has Troy a 17-point favorite against Akron.
Oh, man.
And you know, this is a tough game that, you know, you don't want it to cost you, another loss. You know, you want to get past this game and not be thinking about it, but, you know, you got to get ready for Akron as well. So hopefully Troy can go on the road, you know, in a tough environment, playing an 0-4 team that has a really athletic quarterback. You know, they scored 24 points and scored 21 points against UAB. I mean, they've got some talent. So scary game this weekend up in Akron.
What's the line on the Southern Miss Alabama game?
39.
39.
39.
Alabama's a 39-point favorite.
After Southern Miss takes 600 yards against Troy and Alabama's playing 4 pure freshmen on defense.
Troy is going to score. I mean, Southern Miss is going to score a couple touchdowns.
20-something points, yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to realize back-to-back week Alabama has not covered. You know, they didn't cover, you know, late touchdown from South Carolina, wins South Carolina the money. The line was 26, and final score was 24 points difference. But
that game was deceiving. South Carolina could have been in that ball game. They had some strange plays go against them.
Which one? Mississippi State game?
No, the Alabama-South Carolina game. There was maybe a touchdown that wasn't reviewed that South Carolina had right before the halftime. They didn't get any points. They fake a punt that they botched. Had some interceptions, fumbles. You know, ifs and buts are candy and nuts, but
every day.
That could have been a competitive game going into the fourth quarter.
But of course,
they faked the field goal, and if they don't call hold on that play, you know, it might have been a different game, definitely.
Yeah, no question about it.
And then they later faked a punt too that they didn't get. You could tell that South Carolina was going to pull out all stops. They didn't care if they had nothing to lose, so that they were going to fake punts, fake field goals, blitz, throw long passes, do everything they could to try to win the game.
South Carolina scored in the last 11 seconds.
To cover.
Auburn, how about this? How do you think these coaches look at spreads? Auburn scored in the last 11 seconds, too. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, they had Gatewood in, and all Joey Gatewood does come in and rush for 100 yards. So it's pretty good little added dimension that Auburn has just in case Bo Nix.
You know, I'm going to be a contrarian, but the little I've seen of Gatewood, I'm wondering if Gus made the right call.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, he looks like
it would not surprise me if by mid-season he's a quarterback.
He can run the ball like Cam Newton used to. He's a fullback in the quarterback's body that he's going to get 5 or 6 yards every time he runs it, looks like to me. I'd run him.
Yeah, no question.
Of course, other in-state teams, we thought South Alabama would play Memphis tough, and Memphis is up 30-0 at the half and wins 42-6.
Man.
South Alabama started the season pretty well against Nebraska, but looks like they're still going to struggle a lot.
I want to mention Auburn's 468 yards rushing. I tell you right now, I wouldn't want to play Auburn.
Well, we'll know all we need to know about Auburn this weekend. They travel to Texas A&M.
To play a mediocre Texas A&M team. This is not a good Texas A&M team.
Texas A&M is a 4-point favorite.
Well, we'll learn about Texas A&M.
But they're not very good.
I thought Mond was much improved in his first game, and then I'm not so sure after the Clemson game. But Auburn has a defense with depth. That's something Troy and Alabama don't have. And boy, they trade for in the second.
Yeah, 101,000 fans screaming at Bo Nix. It's gonna be pretty amazing environment. So I'm interested to see what happens.
Screaming at Bo Nix. You know what? I'm gonna tell you. This. This guy's going. Bo Nix will not be the quarterback after the 5th game.
You got SEC betting lines out for this week. Like I mentioned, Southern Miss is a 39-point underdog against Alabama. LSU's a 21-point favorite against Vandy. Interesting game here. I think this might be close because Florida lost their quarterback for the year. Tennessee at Florida. Florida's a 14-point favorite. Another interesting game. Pac-12. Cal is a 2-point favorite at Ole Miss. Auburn is a 4-point underdog against Texas A&M. Kentucky and Sawyer Smith. Sawyer Smith played a really good game, other than one really bad interception. But Kentucky at Mississippi State. Interesting line. Mississippi State's a 7.5-point favorite after losing to Kansas State. And then South Carolina will go on the road at Missouri. And Missouri is a 10-point favorite. The other game that everybody wants to watch is Notre Dame at Georgia. Georgia will be a 13-point favorite against Notre Dame.
Yeah. That might be a closer game than you think, too.
Well, that Auburn, Texas A&M, it's what, the 2:30 game on CBS, and then we got Georgia at Notre Dame. What time's Troy and Akron?
Troy and Akron.
Troy and Akron's around lunch, I think.
Wonder what the temperature will be in Akron, Ohio.
That is a 2 p.m. game. It's a 2 p.m. game in Akron.
2 p.m.
You want to get in the car and drive up there? I wonder how far that is.
Troy is a team I think that's going to score on everybody this year. That offense is pretty dynamic. I mean,
but they lose the running back. Gosh, that's so. I mean, these season-ending injuries are getting old.
You know why
that's not official yet. They're saying that's probably the case. They're going to talk about it on this press conference either today or tomorrow. We'll make it official.
I don't know when when is their press conference?
The press conference is on Tuesday, I believe.
It is. I didn't know
that's
unusual. I wonder why.
I don't remember a year where we've had more prominent players having season-ending injuries so early in the year or even before the season. It's this across college football.
No question about it. No question about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to recap all
Florida's
the games,
quarterback is gone.
25.
Although Florida's second-string quarterback looked a lot better than Florida's first-string quarterback, you wonder why he was the second-string quarterback.
That's right. There was a question mark there anyway. You're exactly right. Of course,
I mean, Sawyer Smith, of course, he was Troy's, backup quarterback, came in and started for Barker last year, and they threw for 267 yards and 2 touchdowns, ran in another touchdown. I mean, I don't think Kentucky could really ask for much more against Florida. They were leading 21-10 in the fourth quarter and had nothing to do with Sawyer Smith. They brought a guy in to run the Wildcat at about their own 45 and gave Florida the ball back, and then Florida had all the momentum the rest of the game. Kind of a bad decision on
Well, Kentucky missed a chip shot field goal that would have put them up with about a minute left in the game. So Sawyer Smith got them into position to win the game, and the Kentucky field goal kicker, I think it was about a 40-yard field goal, missed it to the right. So then Florida was running out the clock or trying to run out the clock, and they break an 80-yard run to, add 7 more points in the last second.
The top 25 was interesting. Virginia scores 21 points to rally to come back and beat Florida State, and Charlottesville, they won 31-24. So that was a game that Florida State had won to let Virginia come back, and then BYU does it 2 weeks in a row and shocks USC in overtime, 30-27. So that was a couple of games that came down the wire. Other than that, the biggest shock of the day was Temple shut down Maryland. Maryland was just blowing out everybody, and Temple at home wins 20-17.
Want to congratulate Coach Brown, Mike. He wins his second game, but he beats North Carolina State 44-27. Surprised me. I would have thought North Carolina State would have won that game, but that's a good win for Coach Brown.
Yeah, now he's got to go on the road, and of course he and all the West Virginia fans probably thought this was going to be a sure win, but Kansas shocks everybody in the country and blows out Boston College on Friday night at Chestnut Hill. and now West Virginia will have to get on the road and go play Kansas this weekend. So another big game for Neil Brown in West Virginia. Kansas beating Boston College though was shocking.
Yeah, oh yeah, no question about it. Some other games.
Makes you wonder how good Coastal Carolina is.
Yeah, I know. And Coastal Carolina getting better evidently. They're playing pretty good, no question. I want to throw out a few more games that you might not know about. Louisville beat Western Kentucky 38-21. Kansas State, as you mentioned, that my preacher was at this game over in Starkville, and Kansas State beats them 31-24.
I watched his grandson at right guard. He played really well.
Yeah,
he's good. Mitchell.
I hope he'll play in the pros. I think he will.
I think he'll get a chance.
Mike, he had one that surprised me a little bit. I don't know where they played this game, but Jacksonville State beat Eastern Washington 49-45.
Yeah, that is a big win for 1AA.
Yeah. Georgia killed New Arkansas State 55-0. That surprised me.
Speaking of 1AA, Citadel goes to Georgia Tech and beats Georgia Tech.
That's got to be the biggest upset of the week, right there.
Don't schedule Citadel. They have a.
They do have a way.
Through the decades, they seem to do this.
They beat South Carolina 2 years ago.
It goes all the way back to Jack Crow, who lost his job because he scheduled the Citadel. They lost the first game, and Crow is fired on the first game of the year. That's happened quite a while ago. But, that had a huge effect on his coaching career.
That game?
Because, see, they pulled him after the first game, and he never coached again, head coach. And
also, I forgot about this. Arizona State beats Michigan State at Michigan State. That's 2 straight years Arizona State's beat
14-7. That is crazy. Man, you're right. Huh?
10-7.
Oh, 10-7. That is something. And 10-7, and in a game that everybody thought everybody was raving over Michigan State's defense. Well, evidently pretty good on defense, but that was something.
Then everybody said this was going to be a blowout, and UCF definitely proved everybody right. UCF was up 38-7 at the half against Stanford.
Yeah, no question.
And cruises to a 45-27 victory.
Looks like UCF is going to supplant Miami and maybe FSU is the number 2 program in the state of Florida.
All right. Well, let's say that, there are not that many people that play college football in the state of Florida, major college football, and they're just loaded with talent.
There's a lot of Division I teams in Florida.
I know it, but they're loaded with talent. They can run like deer, and that's what everybody told me about, and it turned out to be correct about Southern Miss was their speed. You could tell that they had great team speed. And Troy, I think, showed a pretty good indication of their offense to score 42 points on a team that can run like that,
Well, the Watkins kid, we didn't even talk about a wide receiver. He had to sit out the first 2 games, I think, because of injury. And he's another kid out of Alabama. And he had 209 yards receiving. Yeah, one guy that had 180 yards receiving, Jalen Adams, and then this Watkins kid had 209-yard receivings. And the problem was
down the middle.
Most of these times, the times the guys were just wide open.
Yeah. And it was down the middle. Everything was down the middle. The safeties evidently didn't do their job.
I mean, one of the biggest plays in the game, we didn't even mention though, in the Troy game. Troy on the first series, Southern Miss runs the ball. The whistle was never blown, and Troy strips the guy, returns it for a touchdown. So Troy's up 7-0. Everybody thinks Troy's up 7-0. They do the fireworks, they do everything. Troy kicks the extra point, blah, blah, this and that. Next thing you know, they say they reviewed it and said the guy was down. So, that was a big play to start the game as well, because, a lot of people thought they were going to be up 7-0.
They were Conference USA officials. I wonder why was that?
They did not call near as many pass interferences on Southern Miss as Troy got. Man, they called so many on Troy.
How much was Troy? I didn't see that part of it. How many yards they were penalized?
I mean, I would say Troy is over 100 yards in penalty.
Oh man, you can't win that way. I promise you.
Nope.
Why they honored your good buddy, and he is a great man, Ted Horsted, Saturday, Mike. And of course, I honored his team, the 84 team, and I tell you, it was a great group. Saw Chan Gailey and talked to Chan, and saw a lot of the old greats. And Horsted, the youngster out of Elba, I say youngster, came there as a linebacker, and they put him in as a wishbone fullback, and he never hit what I'm saying.
Yeah,
from there on, he was
I
great.
was surprised Rick Rhodes wasn't there, but Coach Gailey was good. Robert Maddox was there. Of course, Maddox was a really good defense coordinator, and then maybe one of the worst head coaches in Charles Henderson history was there. I forgot John Fulkerson.
I saw Fulkerson there too. Yeah, he was.
Fulkerson tried to emulate Lou Holtz when he was a Charles Henderson coach.
Yeah, he was a graduate assistant coach at Troy, and they gave him the head coaching job at Charles Henderson, and he wasn't ready to be a head coach. I'll tell you that.
Why did Charles Henderson get Chris Yeager? He's just been the head coach at Mountain Brook for 20-something years.
Yeah, he's still the head coach, isn't he?
Yeah, I know. They're 4-0.
Yeah. We were talking.
What does Coach Gailey think about how far Troy's come?
It was a horrible weekend for Troy sports. Troy University loses Southern Miss, Pike Liberal Arts loses Northside Methodist, and then Charles Henderson gets beat 49-14 by Oxford.
Yeah. That game, I turned it on right before the half, was 14-14, and on about the last 2 or 3 snaps, they scored again, made it 21-14 at the half, and it was a runaway after that. But, Charles Henderson, it's a 6A school compared to Charles Henderson being a 5A school, and Charles Henson's not ready to play those folks yet.
Well, you schedule them back-to-back years, and the final score last year was 62-0, and you give up 49 this year. I mean, why are you scheduling teams like this?
I'll tell you what, Ole Miss liked to have blown it. They didn't blow it, but they liked to have blown it against Southeastern Louisiana.
40-29.
40-29, and Southeastern Louisiana is a 1AA team, and played them pretty good. You lose your job losing to a team like that.
That's what Coach Stallings used to always say about these games against lesser teams. Just lose one of them and see what happens.
That's why a lot of people don't play Troy, because hey, they got a chance to get beat, no question about it. But now Troy's a 1A program. Memphis, like you said, just walloped South Alabama, and but now
that's the coach right there that needs a big time job. That's Jay Norville. I mean, it's a really big time coach, I think, in Memphis.
But let me tell you this, and I told y'all this on the Pickett show. Georgia Southern lost to Minnesota on the last play of the game.
Oh, I didn't know that, Mike.
Lost to Minnesota on the last play of the game.
Minnesota turnovers.
Why now?
Minnesota had tons of turnovers in that game. Georgia Southern only had a little over 200 yards of offense and almost beat them because Minnesota turned the ball over so much. And Shaw Wirtz still not playing at Georgia Southern.
Oh, he's still not playing. And gosh, when he starts playing there, they're an entirely different ball team. Man, oh man.
It's going to be interesting to see when they reinstate him.
Yeah.
It might have been a 3-game, 4-game suspension. I don't know.
I wish it would be for the season, to tell you the truth, because caught him with a pretty hard drug, didn't he?
Yep.
Well, I mean, that's what everybody in the world thinks, except apparently some police.
I tell you a team that's a lot better than a lot of people think. Of course, they beat Norfolk State, a Division I AA team, but Coastal Carolina looks like they're gaining a little confidence. They won 46-7.
How about Georgia State? They beat Tennessee. Tennessee, but Western Michigan beats them 57-10. You think that makes Tennessee fans feel better?
Yes, exactly. And thank goodness Tennessee comes around and beats Chattanooga 45-0, and that's where they should be. Arkansas, as you mentioned, beat Colorado State 55-34.
That game was tied 34-34 in the fourth quarter, and Arkansas scores 21 unanswered points.
Well, there's a new quarterback, Starkles, who used to be Texas A&M quarterback, is now the quarterback at Arkansas. Starkle, is that right?
Did you get did you get excited last night when Julio made that catch and won the game for the Falcons?
Oh boy, what a play was that! That was a great play.
Well,
Boy,
tell me more about it. I was, of course, asleep.
well,
Well, with 2 minutes left, they're trailing the Eagles, and it was a 4th and 3 call, and they threw just like
it
an out route.
was more than 2 minutes, though, wasn't it, Mike? How many minutes was it?
I think they said it was a little over 2 minutes left in the game.
I was watching it. Yeah.
And they basically just threw a little out to the left and a couple of blocks, and that, they just couldn't catch him. He outran everybody.
Boy, he turned it on. He had great speed.
How far was the play?
About 55 yards.
54 yards, and then Julio had, I think, 2 touchdowns. Really had 1 touchdown. They both went over 100 yards receiving. So if you're an Alabama fan, it's fun to watch the Falcons and their receivers. But Matt Ryan threw 3 interceptions, so the Falcons were very lucky to win.
You know, Navy killed East Carolina. Navy might be coming back this year, Mike. They won 42-10. You know, you look at that Navy team, they play a lot of good ones. Penn State just did get by Pittsburgh 17-10. So that game was sort of a scary one if you're a Penn State fan.
I watched a little of the Falcons-Eagles game in the third quarter. I was stunned by the number of empty seats in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. I don't know if people are in the bars and restaurants or don't go to their seats, but right after halftime, they showed a panoramic shot of the bleachers, and I guarantee you that was half the seats in that dome were empty. Yeah. I don't know what's going on.
Well, let me go back to this Arkansas game again, too. Starkle, Mike, threw for 499 yards. That's, against a Division I-A team. He might help Arkansas.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird situation. They had 2 transfer quarterbacks. Ben Hicks was a starter and all-time passing leader at SMU. So he transfers out of SMU because the coach, Morris coached at SMU before he went to Arkansas. And then Starkle transferred out of Texas A&M. So both guys transferred out. And they originally started Hicks, but I guess Starkle is now beating him out. So maybe that will help Arkansas. They need all the help they can get.
Yeah, no question about it. Of course, Mike, I want to now talk to everybody on a very sad
I'll call you right back.
On a very sad note, ladies and gentlemen, Sam Jones, a young man that grew up right here in Troy, Alabama, and the son of Vicki and Alan Jones, and he was killed in an automobile accident yesterday morning on the Butternegg Road. And our prayers and our thoughts go out to the Jones family, one of the great families in this community for a long time, and of course Will, his brother, and Ben, his brother, and of course, Alan, one of my very close friends on this earth, great guy, great people, great Christian family, and they lost their younger son, Sam, to this terrible accident. Sam was quite a young man, and of course the whole family, great people, and had just friends galore, great Christian family, and this loss has stunned a lot of people in our community. Of course, our prayers and our thoughts go to the family, and you knew the family real well yourself, didn't you?
I didn't know. I was stunned when you told me this morning, Mike. Just
when something happens like that on a weekend, you don't have a newspaper that's coming out that can tell you about it, right away, or that comes out on a Monday, but the paper doesn't come out until Tuesday. So if somebody didn't just pick up the phone and call you, you didn't see it on Facebook, you wouldn't know about it until probably tomorrow.
Well, these are the toughest events to go through. You talked about we lost Mr. O'Neill, and when it involves an accident and a young person that's so unexpected, that it's just. You just pray that the family can somehow get through this.
Yeah, I don't know. I would think that he is less than 30 years old. Sam, and of course he's a former winner of the Johnny Teal Award, excellent athlete growing up, loved the outdoors, and had just worlds of
personality.
friends. In fact, David Williams, Johnny Williams' son, and Sam, very, very close friends. And I talked to Johnny yesterday, and this young man had worlds and worlds of friends. His family had worlds and worlds of friends, and hopefully they'll gather together and pay homage to this young man's life. And then, of course, what we all want to know and happen is that he'll go to heaven, and we'll all be there to rejoice with him one day, as we go to heaven and live life eternal.
Yep. Alan and Vicky and the two brothers are going to need as much love and support as we can give them.
They're all outdoors. They all love to hunt and fish, and especially hunt. And they gather together, and the aunts and the uncles, and they come from a sort of a football background. Not only did all three of them, Will and Ben and Sam, play football for Charles Henderson. They were all good football players, but their uncle played at the University of Alabama, and Rich Wingo, the great linebacker, played at Alabama and played with the Green Bay Packers for a long time too. But and a great Christian man in his own right. And of course, Vicky, he's married to Vicky's twin sister, and just great people. And what I'm not. They're just loving people, and they're Christian people, and this is a terrible blow to the family. And
we talked about
our community.
You do in your last Charles Henderson football game.
Oh yeah.
You did most of those Charles Henderson football games with Alan Jones.
That's right. Well, Alan was my color man for a long time.
Donated his time.
Yeah.
Expenses to cover all those games with you.
Tremendous Trojan. That's a tremendous Trojan family. And Alan, of course, is a local attorney, who's
great attorney.
Attorney for the hospital and attorney for the bank, and
the county.
Very long and successful career as an accountant. And then I'm not going to say I'm glad that he didn't. Dr. Alan Jones, one of the best people I've ever known. And of course, we lost him less than a year ago, and what a great man he was. And I'm glad he didn't have to live through this, because he loved his grandchildren very much. And Sam is with him in heaven right now, and with their grandmother, and just great people. And I know there are a lot of great people out there, but these people here are special to me, and I hope
everybody remembers
God's healing hand will comfort them. And I tell you what, there's a lot of people in this community, and a lot of people that are grieving for Sam and for the family, but no stronger Christian people in Troy, Alabama than Alan and Vicky Jones. And their family. So the Lord is with them, I promise you. And these are two strong individuals, and those two boys, all three of those boys were real strong young men. And it's not going to be easy because they all love each other. But hey, being in heaven is more important than anything in the world, and that's where Sam is right now. And that's where his granddaddy is, and that's where his grandmamas are, and hey, they'll live in heaven forever. And amen. And again, if you get a chance, pick up the phone or go by and see this great family, and they'll love you for it, no question about it. We'll be back after these messages.
Locally, Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is donating $200 per vehicle sold now through October to the Pike Medical Foundation. We're fighting cancer one car at a time with you at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop at PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Piggly Wiggly's local butchers are on site at both stores and will help you select the best cuts of meat and trim them to your liking. Our USDA Choice beef is the most consistently tender, juicy, and flavorful beef you can buy, all at cost plus 10%.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Know-how, Napa Know-how.
Locally, Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is donating $200 per vehicle sold now through October to the Pike Medical Foundation. We're fighting cancer one car at a time with you at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop at PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Big Al and the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Of course, the Joneses, big Alabama folks, and of course, this goes out to their family today, and the Lord be with you, my friends, and we love you, and they don't come any better than the Jones family, no question about it. Big Al and the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Who do they got this week, Bill? Do you know?
Yeah, they got the Southern Miss Golden Eagles.
They got the Golden Eagles. Beware of the Golden Eagles.
The Golden Eagles played Mississippi State, lost. Then they came to Troy in front of the 5th largest crowd ever in Troy history and won a track meet. And now they go to Tuscaloosa for the 11 o'clock in the morning kickoff.
Yeah, they don't like that, do they?
Another broiler.
I was very impressed with Troy's students. They hung in there, they were, it was a 5 o'clock kickoff, but they were facing the sun. There was still plenty of sun left. And the great thing about Troy is that it does get shadier. That's not a good word. Good morning. Shadier.
Good morning. I was just coming back in.
But the east stands, the west stands, sort of cover the field around 5 o'clock, which is good, but they were still under the fire. That Southern Miss fans were, and their bench was under the hot sun for a long time, weren't they, Mike?
Yeah, I told you I was very disappointed in the Southern Miss crowd, and I would say maybe 250 people. When you bring a crowd over for a drive that's only, 3.5 hours, that made me feel like they didn't think they could win.
Well, Coach Suber, who is a very good friend of mine, who played at Southern Miss, I saw him at the game, and Mike, he told me he was embarrassed that Southern Miss did not bring more people. And you're right, they did not bring a big crowd. And shame on you, Southern Miss. Hey, this is a Division I-A program, and hopefully we'll have a big crowd.
One of the last times UAB came to Troy, I could not believe how few UAB fans came to the Troy game.
But
that was one of the reasons.
That was Watson Brown UAB. It's a lot different when Bill Clark. They opened the season against Alabama State and had 40,000 fans in Legion Field.
Yeah, let me tell you this: there'll be a big crowd from here on out. They had just started that then, but they're starting.
UAB hosts South Alabama this weekend. I'm sure South Alabama won't bring anybody to that game.
Yeah. But UAB's program is growing, and we're not talking about 40,000 at every game, but they'll have 25, 30,000 at most every home game.
I guarantee you when that new stadium opens downtown, they'll have close to 30 to 40 every game. I guarantee it.
Both UAB and South Alabama are building new stadiums, on-campus stadiums. It's going to enhance both of their programs. Don't you think it's going to help?
UAB's downtown next to the Sheridan, so it's not on campus.
Yeah, but you're right there. But it's not that terribly far, though, Mike.
I don't know. That's several blocks. That would be quite a hike.
Well, UAB, we're talking about the medical school now. It's located right downtown Birmingham. But South Alabama with a new stadium, it's going to really help them a lot, and it's going to help UAB, even though it is downtown. But both those programs are going to be good.
Everybody's talking about Barker's performance, but Jack Abraham, the Southern Miss quarterback, was 28 of 36 for 463 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was phenomenal.
Where is he from, Mike? Is he from Birmingham?
No, that was Mullins.
Abraham.
They had 112 yards rushing and 514 yards receiving, so they had over 626 yards of offense. Quez Watkins was a kid I was talking about from Alabama as well, had 7 receptions for 209. Jalen Adams, the kid out of Minor, out of Birmingham, had 11 catches for 180. Troy was led by Kalen Geiger, who turns out to be one of the best signees. This junior college player out of Texas had 6 catches for 118. Trey Eford, who's been at Troy for a couple of years, had 7 catches for 110. Luke Whittemore, who came on late last season and really played well, had 5 for 110. And then this guy, Caleb McLean,
who is he?
Transferred from Tulane, and it played junior college after he left Tulane. He was phenomenal and had a huge game, 4 catches for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. He didn't catch a ball against Campbell.
Yeah. Well, Alabama and Southern Miss this week, wouldn't you say if you add Alabama's 4 great receivers, and they do have 4 great receivers, if you threw in these 2 Southern Miss receivers, you'll have 6 of the best receivers in the entire country, wouldn't you?
Well, I think Troy's secondary is just that bad, is what you got to look at.
Well, I tell you what, those are big, grown-up kids, though, for Southern.
If they put up 100 yards on Alabama's secondary, I will change my opinion, and I will tell you they're great. But Alabama's got some really, really good secondary.
Again, tell me where Abraham is from, Mike. I've never heard of him until this year.
He's been their starter the last 2 years.
Okay, you love telling me that, don't you? Well, tell me something about. Wait a minute, though. You're so smart. Tell me about where he's from.
Well, I mean, let me look it up.
Well, I've asked you 2 or 3 times already. Where is this young man from?
Southern Miss quarterback's not on my radar to find out where he's from.
Well, I tell you what. After he throws for 470 yards against your alma mater, you ought to know where he's from.
He's from Oxford, Mississippi.
All right, you think he could play for Ole Miss?
I don't know. I mean, probably.
No question about it. That kid, he's going to play in the pros. He's pretty good.
I'll be very, very interested to see how Southern Miss finishes the season. Of course, they're not going to beat Alabama, but I'll be interested to see how they do in Conference USA.
I think they'll be competitive. They've got a lot of athletes. But you're right. Now, Troy, sort of shut down their run. 100 yards, giving up 100 yards is not bad.
Yeah, but why run when you can throw at will?
Well, all right, now, you're right. And that's the same way with Troy. Why run against them? Because you can throw it like you
Same way
could.
with Alabama. Well, they've pretty much given up trying to run the ball.
But it remains to be seen.
Why does Southern Miss still look so much more physical and so much bigger in Troy to me?
Those black jerseys and those black helmets and all that. No, I'm just joking.
Like if Troy loses at home, coming off a bye week to get ready, and they have the best offense Troy's ever had since their Division I, and they lose to Southern Miss, I don't see how you can beat Southern Miss again.
Yeah, you can. Don't overreact.
Well, let me tell you this.
I think Troy's defense is that bad, though.
All right. Tell us the names
But
of the guys.
we've explained what the defense would have been a lot better, except for all these strange circumstances.
Now, I'm not going to go to the press conference.
If you're a Troy fan, hopefully Mike Amos will still be alive. We hope you'll be there in 2021 for the rematch, Dad.
We got to wait that long?
That's only 2 years.
Oh, yeah, well, that's good. All right, that's good.
in Hattiesburg, right?
Mike, you don't think I'm going to croak? Mike, you don't think I'm going to croak before then, do you?
No, I'm just saying, I hope you will be alive.
I know it, I do, but...
That'll give Coach Lindsey a time to do some recruiting.
Let me tell you this.
Get some defensive players.
Throw all of this football away. Throw all of this going to the beach and sitting on and having a big time, whatever. I did what all Christians should have done yesterday, is go to church and worship the Lord Jesus Christ. And I spoke at Calvary Baptist Church yesterday and felt so good studying my Bible and reading my verses and then talking to the congregation there. Hey, that's the most important thing that we should do on Sunday is go to church and read our Bibles and know the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you ought to be ashamed on your daughter and your son who are in Troy. All they had to do is get in the car and drive to Calvary and hear you preach, and all they're doing is sitting around running their mouths, getting ready to go eat at Sisters.
Well, that's what I'm saying, for you to even mention that, Mike. I mean, just think how many people are saying, guys, you mean they didn't go? That's what I'm saying, isn't it?
I go to Christ the King Episcopal Church plenty down here, so I feel pretty good about my church going.
Well, good. I didn't mean to get that personal about all of
Well, did y'all go to Sisters? Did y'all go to Sisters, though?
Yeah, we went to Sisters.
I did sit around there, and I said, man, maybe one of us should be at church right now. Dad's actually preaching today.
And I think you paid the bill at Sisters, didn't you?
Yeah, but I think people paid me back, so. I tell you what, man, you get attacked when you go into Sisters. You don't pay right away. You can't.
On
even
Sunday. It's only on Sunday. It's only on Sunday. Hey, can you believe how many people were at Sisters yesterday?
What time did y'all get there?
There was a line almost 100 yards long. It was unreal.
I had my two little baby girls, and we had to park on the side of the road off 231 to even get a parking space. And we got there right at 11 a.m.
Paula Dean, wherever you are, Paula Dean, you can't compare with Sisters.
Y'all got there at 11 a.m. and you still had to wait?
There was more fried chicken going around Sisters yesterday than you'll ever see anywhere. And boy, it was good. All the food was so good, and our little grandbabies had a good time, and we ate a good meal, and it was wonderful. No question about it. Sisters is a great place to eat, and they're open today.
They could probably just open up on Sunday and
let me tell you this. I bet they fed 500 or 600 people yesterday. I bet at least that many. You know, those girls came up just working as waitresses,
didn't they start at the country kitchen with Mary Finley?
Yeah, I would say it's been 15 or 20 years now since they've had their own restaurant, and oh boy, they know how to do it. The Sisters are great people, and they know how to cook. I promise you. And you eat at Sisters, you're eating at as good a place that you're going to eat at anywhere in this country. I promise you. Sisters Restaurant on the bypass right in Troy.
Let's go over Southern Miss's schedule the rest of the year. So they're 2-1. They beat Orange State, got blown out by Mississippi State, beat Troy, will get blown out by Alabama. So they'll be 2-2 after Alabama. After that, they play UTEP. Win.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that they're going to get blown out by Alabama.
Alabama will destroy.
All right. Well, what was the score of the Mississippi State game?
38-15, and Stevens didn't even play but 1.5.
Yeah.
We'll see. If Barker throws for 504 against Southern Miss, how much do you think Tua can
But
throw
you know what, Mike? Let me tell you another little story, too. Neither one of those great receivers that he was talking about.
No, Jalen Adams played against Mississippi State.
No, he did not play against Mississippi State.
Yeah, he did. I watched it.
All right, give me his stats.
All right, I have to pull it down.
No, I was told that both those guys did not play against Troy.
Watkins didn't play at all against Mississippi State. He was injured.
Yeah, and he didn't. And of course, he came back and played against Troy. We're talking about these two great receivers that both of them caught passes for over 100 yards. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or close to 200 yards,
close
didn't
to 200 yards.
Yeah.
All right, so they beat UTEP. They're 3-2. Then they host North Texas, who's usually pretty good, at Hattiesburg.
They were playing with the same quarterback that Troy beat in the bowl game 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, a great quarterback named Mason Fine.
Yeah.
North Texas at home. I don't know what y'all think on that. Who wins that game?
Southern Miss.
Yeah, I like Southern Miss to beat them too. You're right.
Then at Louisiana Tech, tough place to play.
That'll be a tough one, but I think they'll win that one. Or like you said,
then at Rice.
They'll beat Rice.
Then UAB goes to Southern Miss. I'll say UAB beats Southern Miss.
Southern Miss beats UAB.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either.
Then you go on the road and you play UT San Antonio in the Alamo Dome.
Oh, yeah.
Then you go on the road and you play UT San Antonio in the Alamo Dome. Then you go on the road and you play UTSA in Columbia. Then you go on the road and you play UTSA in Columbia. Then you go on the road and you play UTSA in Columbia.
Yeah, they'll beat them. Southern Miss beat them.
They'll beat Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky's really down. Then they travel to the end of the year and they play at Lane Kiffin Stadium. They play Lane Kiffin in the Florida Atlantic.
They'll beat them. They'll beat Lane Kiffin.
So they're projected in Vegas to win 7 games. So it looks like they'll either win 7 to 8, maybe 9.
Pretty good.
This is not should not be a season-ending defeat for Troy if they bounce back the right way. It's not a conference game. It was a competitive game that Troy had plenty of chances to win. You just don't want one defeat to sink your program. So.
Let me tell you how important this is for Troy. Troy needs a home and home every year with Southern Miss, UAB, South Alabama. Those 3 would be excellent home and homes right there. Those 3 right there, and then Troy play their conference schedule and a couple of other big guys. But play these guys every year if they could do it. Now I will tell you this. Army.
We know the athletic director pretty well. We should be in pretty good shape.
We sure do. And Army, yeah, we should. Army is right now looks like they're going to play Troy 4 times.
You're kidding?
Yeah, that'll be coming out soon. Home and home 2 different times.
Awesome.
You know, the great thing about it is to go
to
New York.
Yeah, everybody says that campus is beautiful.
And then you'll rent a car and go out to the game and be there for the weekend in New York. Let's take a look at some of the games we got coming up this weekend, and it's going to be some good ones. Hey, how did Houston come out, Mike?
They lost.
Washington State
came back though.
31-24.
31-24. Washington State.
Houston won the money.
Well, we don't need to talk about that.
That was a really, really interesting line, though. That game went up to 10 points. I always thought that was kind of strange.
Yeah. Okay, any other games on Friday that we might have missed? The Southern Cal got beat, didn't they?
Yeah, they didn't play Friday.
Wake Forest beat
Wake
North
Forest
Carolina.
was up 21-0 on North Carolina, and Mac Brown, man, you got to give him credit. I mean, they came almost all the way back, scored 18 points in the 4th, had the ball at, I think, the Wake 40-yard line, and Tom just ran out of the clock. But a lot of people think there was 1 second left, and they should have had a Hail Mary pass. But the refs just ran off the field. Really weird situation. There was ACC teams playing, but didn't count as an ACC game.
No, I wonder what the story is
That
behind
is
that.
unusual. And I'll tell you another thing. If you're going to play, hear this, ADs everywhere. I know you're watching us on Facebook across the country and across the world. If you're going to play on Friday, don't do it at 5 o'clock. They played at 5 o'clock. People are still at work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now, in a way, though, it might, if you don't have any other games scheduled, maybe that'll be better. We don't have any business playing football on Friday nights. That should be a high school thing. Don't you agree?
I agree. Yeah.
These colleges have. Don't you agree, Mike?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where, you just can't do it because of television more than anything. The game was on ESPN+.
Well, all right, let's look at...
Jalen Adams played against Mississippi State, so I was right. He had 4 receptions for 56 yards and 1 touchdown.
So he did play a little bit? Okay. The other guy didn't play, though. The other guy didn't play, though, did he?
No, he didn't play.
How did Abraham do against Mississippi State?
I had to go back and look.
You said he had 4 receptions for 56 yards.
Yeah.
That was a receiver.
About the quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh, the quarterback. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Want to mention that Troy's great linebacker.
Abraham against Mississippi State was really good. 18 for 26, 234, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah. I want to mention Marshall, the great Trojan linebacker, Troy linebacker. All he did was have 16 stops, 7 solo, 9 assists, and he tied for 7th in school history. He had 4.5. He also had 4.5 tackles for a loss.
I mean, he's the next Anthony Rabb.
Yeah, and of course, Demarcus Ware also had 4.5 sacks against Marshall one game. So it was a tough one to lose. And
didn't Pike County barely beat Geneva. That was a real close game.
That surprised me. 14-7, Pike County beat Geneva, and we're going to give. I've asked for that, and I'm going to get that in a minute. I believe a few minutes, so we'll have some of those high school scores. But taking a look at some of the games this week, Tulane against Houston. The Tulane I saw against Auburn will beat Houston in my book. Mm-hmm. They've got a lot of skilled players. That game's played in the Dome, so that's going to be on a Thursday. Some of the games to look forward to, Utah against Southern Cal. And that guy at Southern Cal either ought to go ahead and be fired or he's not going to be there long. What do you think, Mike?
Lynn Swan just stepped down as athletic director as well, so he's ready to get out. I'm sure Swan was wanting to go ahead and fire him, and probably somebody decided to keep him another year. I don't know. I don't think Heldon's the guy for the job there. And, I tell you who needs to lose his job and be fired immediately. We watched some of that Oklahoma game. It's Chip Kelly. They've just given up at UCLA.
How bad Oklahoma beat them, Mike?
They beat them by at least 40.
Yeah. Hey, Oklahoma is tough. They're going to be hard to beat with that quarterback, Mike.
Jalen had 99 yards running on the first drive of the game. So how can you have more than 99
I know
yards
it. How could you do that?
You can't.
Yeah, he had 150 for the game.
But, you look at the runs, and he wasn't doing any Herschel Walker-type runs. He just scrambled to the side, and there was nobody out there, and he just kept running down the field. Then he scored a 30-yard touchdown running right up the middle, and there was nobody within 20 yards of him. So that
interesting game on Friday night will be Air Force Boise State. Air Force beat Colorado. They're undefeated. A lot of people think this is one of the best Air Force teams in years.
Well, I didn't realize that going
The Service Academy games ought to be really good this year then, because Navy's better, Army has been really good the last couple of years, and you say Air Force is back. If you like triple option offense, those are the games to watch.
Exactly.
The biggest games of the week are going to be Auburn A&M, and then you got Notre Dame traveling to Georgia.
Yeah.
I go to church down here with a guy from Indiana who's a Notre Dame graduate, and him and a bunch of buddies are going over to Athens for the Notre Dame-Georgia game.
Well, I wonder how many Notre Dame fans will be in Athens. When Georgia played in Notre Dame, weren't there like 25,000 Georgia fans in Notre Dame Stadium?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Boy, that is something.
Troy Akron line's still at 17.
Yeah.
I remember the first time Notre Dame came to Birmingham, I was at that game. It was Don Jacobs was the quarterback in 1980. Yeah. He got relieved by Walter Lewis, a freshman, and I think Notre Dame won 7-0 in a defensive struggle.
I want to mention, this week, we've got, a lot more conference rival teams coming in.
Upset alert here. Appalachian State at North Carolina. North Carolina's a 3.5-point favorite. I would not be shocked at all.
Appalachian will win the football game. Where'd they play that game?
They play in Chapel Hill.
Okay, but I think Appalachian State will win that football game. No question about it. I was looking for, that's what I was doing, was looking for some upsets here in one of them, Florida and Tennessee. I tell you, somebody that needs to win a football game. Tennessee needs to win that game bad.
Mm-hmm. That would help Mr.
And they can do it. I was not really impressed with Florida on offense. What did you think about them?
Well, they lost Franks, but I thought the backup quarterback played better than Franks.
He did.
I'm going to tell you right now, I think Tennessee's going to win the football game. I think Tennessee will beat Florida.
At Florida?
At Florida, sure do.
Yeah.
Mississippi State.
I like them playing under the 14.
Yeah. Mississippi State and Kentucky is a real toss-up. I can't pick that one. LSU will beat Vanderbilt.
Sawyer Smith gets carried off the field as a hero if that guy makes that chip shot field goal.
I know.
We didn't even talk about that. Kentucky missed a 34-yard field goal to win the game.
Yeah. You could tell he was scared to death, and of course he was a pure freshman. And you're exactly right, Mike. Sawyer
Smith would be carried off the field.
Right.
They had not beaten Florida at home in years. They beat them in the swamp last year, but I think they've got like a 20-game losing streak at home against them.
Go ahead and write
Kentucky
it.
outplayed Florida for 4/5 of that game.
Go ahead and write this down. This is
I mean, you feel like you're watching the Troy game. They're showing John Slarman on the sidelines, Troy's offensive line coach for years.
How's he doing, Michael? You know, he's been sick. Did he look good?
He looks good. He's apparently,
He is a great man.
Won so far.
John Slarmer is a great man. No question about it.
And then Pruitt, the blonde-haired tight end that played at Troy, is one of the assistants under Schlarman. And then you got
What did you say his name was?
Jason Pruitt. He was a tight end at Troy. He's on the staff at Kentucky as well.
I didn't know that. All right, here's one that you can take to the bank. Ladies and gentlemen, ding, 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 ding. Wisconsin will beat Mississippi, will beat Michigan like a yard dog. Wisconsin will win the football game without any doubt. They play, Michigan plays at Wisconsin. Give me Wisconsin and maybe 2 touchdowns.
What's the line right there say?
The line there has Wisconsin a 3-point favorite. They started at 2. They've gone to 3. Go ahead and circle Wisconsin, Mike.
Are they playing in the big house?
They're playing the big house. And all right,
No, they're playing in Wisconsin, you said.
they're playing at Wisconsin.
Madison.
Playing at Madison. I've been to that stadium, went there last year, the year before, that it's right downtown. Everything's so boxed in, but it is a football environment at Wisconsin. I'll tell you another one to write down. Washington will beat BYU at BYU.
Okay. Y'all write these
BYU's
down?
been beating everybody, but Washington will go in there and beat BYU.
This is the Amos Lock segment.
This is the Amos, write this one down segment.
And another one, California plays at Ole Miss. California at Ole Miss. Who you like there, Mike?
I mean, I think Cal will probably beat them.
You think Cal probably will beat them. Now, Cal beat Washington.
Cal beat Washington.
But you know what? I think there's just such a big difference in the talent. Give me Ole Miss in this game. Give me Ole Miss, Mike. That team from California is not going to come in here and beat a bunch of country boys from down deep south. It's going to be at Mississippi,
In
Mike.
the humidity
It's
of
going to be
Oxford.
so hot, those boys won't know what to do. Hey, go ahead and put a double X by it. Ole Miss will win that football game, Mike, standing up.
I mean, Cal's 3-0. Ole Miss lost to Memphis, beat Arkansas, beat Southeast Louisiana. So
They need it.
11 o'clock kick.
Oh, boy, it's going to kill those guys from California. Take Ole Miss. Okay, that's a lot of points for Alabama to be given. Southern Miss is their best offensive team they played already. This Southern Miss team is a better offensive team than anybody that Alabama's played so far. Would you agree?
Well, they just got sliced and diced by a team with a freshman quarterback. And then arguably our best defensive lineman, we just learned is out for the year. I'm saying we, Alabama. I just see if South Carolina got 23 points on Alabama, I think Southern Miss is going to get 23 points on Alabama. So you add 39 plus 23, Alabama's going to have to get 62 points to cover.
That's right. Mike, I tell you something, too.
How do you look at the Sun Belt now? Arkansas State got beat 55-0 by Georgia, and Troy's going to play Arkansas State in a couple weeks. If Troy gets by Akron, I mean that Arkansas State game becomes one of the biggest of the whole year.
Yeah,
they can beat Arkansas State at home because I was thinking Troy would go 8-4, and now I think 7-5, 6-6 really comes back into play.
Oh, boy.
I think when they go to Georgia State or Coastal Carolina, I think one of those games is probably going to be a loss now.
Yeah. Well, I read an article. Coach Lindsey, Mike, very proud of his team. He seemed to be very positive. He likes where his team is right now.
Offensively, as an offense coach, he's got to like it, yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you another game. Go ahead.
He called a really good I thought his game plan on offense was really good.
Auburn's going to stun everybody. They're going to beat A&M. A&M's not very good. Auburn is really good.
They're not going to stun me. I've got Auburn possibly
Auburn
undefeated.
is going to win the game against A&M.
I think Auburn is no offensive juggernaut. I think that's going to be a game that's going to be a lot close.
But Auburn's defense going to just shut A&M down. Auburn in a big way. I love them. I love Auburn.
If Auburn beats
I
Texas,
don't know if you watched A&M Clemson, though. A&M moved the ball against Clemson, and their defense really played a really good game against Clemson.
Okay, Auburn's defense is strong. They've now got more balance on
Auburn
offense.
played without Derek Brown, their top defensive lineman. I don't know if he's going to be back against A&M. And then Seth Williams, their top wide receiver, didn't play against Kent State. They need to get Williams back really bad against A&M.
they got their guy with the broken hand back, though. He called a pass.
Yeah, Anthony Schwartz, yeah.
Well, I think Auburn and Texas A&M is a coin flip. And then I think I would bet on Auburn over Florida now. So you got a real possibility of Auburn beating Texas A&M and Florida, which to me says they're set up to be undefeated going into the Georgia game. And on the Plains, undefeated Auburn playing Georgia.
Yeah.
With that crowd going so wild.
Mike, the team to watch now
The team that I was thinking was going to beat Auburn for sure was Florida, but now with the backup quarterback, I don't know if they beat Auburn or not.
I don't think they do.
I think Auburn beats Florida.
I think
Now,
so, too.
this game becomes here's the one I haven't mentioned. Auburn at LSU.
LSU will beat Auburn.
LSU will probably beat Auburn.
they'll beat Auburn.
But still, that does not end Auburn's season by any means.
No. Auburn's going to have a great year. Another game that you can take to the bank. Missouri will beat South Carolina as bad as they want to. Missouri will beat South Carolina
that's a good
at
pick.
Missouri. West Virginia's got to go to Kansas. I'm thinking Coach Brown can go there and beat Kansas, but I don't know. I wouldn't go out on a limb with that game.
Kansas shocked everybody when they put up 48 points on Boston College. He usually plays pretty good defense.
You know, the Missouri-South Carolina game, teams after they play Alabama usually are exhausted the next week and they put so much into the Alabama prep and game, they often don't play well the next week. So I kind of think I'm with Mike that Missouri at home over South Carolina next week might be a good game.
Oregon now.
How about that Najee Harris play on fourth down? That was one of the most incredible run after catches you'll ever see. He stiff arms a defensive lineman that weighed 280 pounds, throws him on the ground, and then he hurdles the defensive back. And then another big linebacker came to tackle him about the 7, and he just brushes him off and goes in. That had to be one of ESPN's top plays.
It was. Yeah, that was a great one.
Mike is very important. Is Georgia playing Notre Dame at night?
Yeah, that's the primetime game.
All right, so will the love bugs still be flying around? Will the love bugs still be flying around?
Well, they're flying around in Troy.
That's a really good question. I want to ask y'all, as a kid growing up in Troy, I do not remember love bugs. Is this something that they've migrated?
Hey, you're right. They migrated this way. You know, back when we were going to all those.
We had love bugs growing up in Troy.
But we saw them in late August and early September when we go to Orlando to see Troy play Central Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them like that. When we'd go see the Central Florida games, we'd get attacked.
But they just started. They migrated to the north, and thank goodness they're not poison, or we'd be in trouble, wouldn't we?
I tell you what, they were all over the stadium. That was awful.
Yeah. But this Georgia Notre Dame game, Georgia right now is a 13-point favorite over Notre Dame. I think their speed and their defense and offensive line will be too much for Notre Dame. Georgia should win this game, but
Notre Dame's quarterback's pretty good, but man, the only time I watched Notre Dame was against Louisville. They didn't impress me at all. Did you watch the Louisville game to start the season?
Yeah, I saw that. But those are some of the games that are coming up this week, and it should be a lot of fun watching them. And
do you want me to find the high school games and give you a recap?
Another huge.
Well, I want to find out what's Derek Brown's issue. Is he going to be? Surely they set him out this game to get him ready for the Texas A&M game.
Yeah, you would think that would be the case. I mean, there was no reason to play him against Kent State.
No.
Yeah. I was looking at a game. Louisiana Monroe's playing at Iowa State. I don't know if
Iowa State had a brutal loss lost the last seconds to Iowa, 18-17.
Sure did.
After another one of those long delays.
Yeah, that was tough, and no question about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're enjoying our show, brought to you by Wise Office Supply and also Express Oil Change on the bypass. Chris and them now doing all kinds of work on your automobile. I mean, they can do it all right there at Wells Fargo Advantage. And our buddies at Wells Fargo Advantage, my good friend Colin McCrary, and of course they have advised me many times on things to do with my money, and they'll help you, I promise you. And of course, Health Actions, you're thinking rehab today, go by and see the folks at Health Actions, located just before you make that turn to go into one of the best barbecue places in the world.
Ooh, I bet they were busy this weekend.
They were. They were at our tailgate area, and we really enjoyed it. They had the rice. You know, everybody loves that rice with pork, you know.
Were there a lot of people at the Alumni House?
Yeah, had a huge crowd. And then, of course, Steve
I
cooked.
tell you what, I was wanting to go try Steve Camp's whole hog and his alligator, but I never got over there.
I know it, and he did have a great feast, Mike. I don't know if he's got any left over or not. Is leftover alligator good, or do you know?
I wouldn't think so.
I'm still thinking about that story.
Have a cold alligator sandwich.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I'm still thinking about the story we broke last week about the 14-foot gator called at Lake Eufaula. Ugh.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Wonder how long you could eat on a 14-foot gator.
And another thing, how do you catch a gator? Do you hook? Do you try to catch him with a?
I've watched swamp people many times. You put a rope with a hook and some chicken.
Yeah. A hook and some chicken.
And then you go back and his mouth's caught in the hook, and then you get your shotgun and you shoot him in the head.
Exactly.
But it takes a perfect shot in the head.
Yeah,
Really?
No question about it. Ladies and gentlemen.
I've got every high school. I've got every high school score. So just
all right. Well, but just the ones that interest us the most.
Just the ones that we picked on our picking show.
All right. Arrington beat Houston County 48-12.
All right.
All right. Arrington's on a roll.
I had Ayrton.
Brantley beat Florala 55-14.
They're very good again. Titletown got a 9th grade quarterback.
You got a 9th grade quarterback?
Yeah, his name's Tucker Kilcrease. You ever heard of that name, Kilcrease?
Didn't that Bo Nix's little brother is supposed to be better than Bo Nix?
Troy's already offered him.
And I think he's in about 8th to 9th grade. Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
Crenshaw Christian beat Abbeville Christian 41-7. Looks like Coach Grant's going to win it all this year.
Yeah, he'll coach on. He's a great coach.
Let's see. Alba beat Kinston 40-14.
Yeah, Peyton Harrison's got his team playing well right now.
Enterprise bounced back and beat Ronaldo Seton K. Pennington's team at Smith Station 27-24.
27-24. Enterprise wins their second game. Okay.
Good game by Coach Ridby. Eufaula, which is still hard to believe they're 6A, beat Sidney Lear 27-13.
Got a big win for them. They love that double wing formation. Who started that double wing formation, Mike? What was the name of that guy?
Double wing?
Yeah, put together a double wing at what school?
Central Wilcox.
Was that Notre Dame? I don't know.
No. It was a Notre Dame box. Double wing was started by the Ducks, Mike.
Oregon?
No. Oh. The Ducks. Toby Raymond was the coach. Toby Raymond and Mike. The Ducks. Do you know the nickname of the Ducks?
The Ducks.
The Ducks?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they run the.
You mean the Hawkeyes? I mean,
No. I'm talking about the Toby Raymond's Rhode Island. Not Rhode Island, but it's what?
You talking about the Delaware Blue Hens?
Yeah, the Blue Hens. I'm sorry. Toby Raymond was the coach in the Blue Hens of Delaware. Got into a double wing formation, and they won a lot of games in that formation.
GW Long beat Delville 30-22. GW Long is pretty good this year.
And you know what? And that was Long's big victory, but it was Daleville was undefeated.
Bart Snyder is blowing out everybody. Goshen must be really good. Beat Sampson 42-21.
They got a quarterback, Mike, that can fly. You know, he gained 222 yards rushing this past week.
Highland Home, the Flying Squadron, coached by Will Pouncey, beat Calhoun 52-0.
Good.
Let's see. Locally, another big surprising score because Auburn beat Enterprise 44-0, but lost to Lee of Montgomery 19-14.
Oh, that is surprising.
Who lost now?
Lee of Montgomery beat Auburn 19-14.
Lee of Montgomery's coming back. They were awful for several years.
Good, you're right.
They got the right coach. The right coach can make all the difference.
Scott Riles was not kind to Zion Chapels. Luverne 60-0.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's see, more local scores as we go down. New Brockton beat Central Haynesville 41-28. Northside Methodist, we mentioned, beat Pike Liberal Arts pretty handily 30-13. So probably Liberal Arts is, I guess, 1-3.
That's the one high school game I missed.
You got Opp 22-7 over Houston Academy. Oxford beats Charleston Anderson 49-14. Pike County beats Geneva 14-7. Bill Rice's old hometown, Pike Road, won 63-16 over Southside Selma.
They're pretty good, yeah.
They play the weakest schedule in the world. That's all right.
Kenny Keefe continues to win. Providence Christian 21-0 over Wicksburg.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Anybody else local here as we scroll down? Let's see. Tallahassee beat Carroll of Ozarks. The Carroll of Ozarks.
That was a big win. That was a big end.
A lot of people picked Carroll.
Yeah, you're right.
I know I did. Tallahassee won 10-6.
I picked Tallahassee, but I missed on Pike Liberal Arts.
They say that Carroll just doesn't have a great running back they've had in the past.
And
Go
then,
ahead.
as we scroll down, that looks about it. So that's your recap.
All right, good. We appreciate that, Mike. It was a lot of fun to recap.
Don't thank me. Thank AL.com.
Yeah, no question about it. We're having a lot of fun, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back.
Locally, Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is donating $200 per vehicle sold now through October to the Pike Medical Foundation. We're fighting cancer one car at a time with you at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop at PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Piggly Wiggly's local butchers are on site at both stores and will help you select the best cuts of meat and trim them to your liking. Our USDA Choice beef is the most consistently tender, juicy, and flavorful beef you can buy. All at cost plus 10%.
Trojan Auto Parts of Troy, home of Napa Know-How. Stop by and see owners Mike and Melissa Kilcrease and their Napa Know-How team with over 100 years of combined experience. We're the only locally owned parts store in Pike County, and we're fully stocked and ready to serve you. We pride ourselves on being your go-to parts store, not only for the simple items, but we specialize in those hard-to-find items as well. Trojan Auto Parts, the right part at the right price at the right time. Napa, a name you've trusted here in Troy since 1945.
Napa know-how.
Locally, Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is donating $200 per vehicle sold now through October to the Pike Medical Foundation. We're fighting cancer one car at a time with you at Premier Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Shop at PremierTroy.com. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody.
Oh, are you sure?
Yeah, Halsteady hosted it last time I watched it.
Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Premier Dodge Chrysler Jeep and Ram trucks on the bypass right in Troy, and my good friend Jason Gregory, and boy, you talking about guys that are selling cars like you won't believe. It's at Premier Dodge Chrysler and Jeep and Ram trucks. You know, Grocery Advantage, man, I love that place. Their meat selections are wonderful. Their produce, it's a big store. They've got all kinds of bargains.
I finally went in there. You've been bragging about it.
It's easy shopping, too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's real nice inside, too.
No question about it.
You want a recap of the NFL games, or are we good?
No, we can do that. Let's talk
Now,
about.
what happened to Drew Brees? They're saying Drew Brees got injured yesterday.
Hurt his hand. Back to our show, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we appreciate all of our sponsors this morning, and also Cinco Drugs. Charles Cinco's been around a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the corner of Walnut Street and
Across from the
North
First
39th
Methodist
Street.
Church.
No question about it.
You know, special day yesterday at Green Bay. They honored Bart Starr. It was Bart Starr Day, and his wife came out with Brett Favre, escorted her to the field.
That was
the
wonderful.
fans were chatting. You know, Bart. You know, and Aaron Rodgers ran out and gave her a hug, and they're wearing Bart Starr logos on their helmet the rest of the year. It's pretty special. Green Bay also won the game 21-16 over the Vikings.
Well, I tell you what, he was one of the great people of all times. Lanier High School, born and raised at Lanier High School. You know who coached him? Charlie Bradshaw coached him at Lanier High School.
He was an assistant coach on that team.
I think so. That's right.
Has a famous head coach. His name escapes me at the moment.
All right, help me out a little bit on this, Mike. Texas beat the Jaguars of Jacksonville 13-12. The Lions beat the Chargers 13-10. All of these are close games.
Low-scoring games.
The Cowboys walloped the Redskins 31-21.
Yeah, if anybody's watching the Cowboys, Dak Prescott's playing out of his mind.
Yeah. The Colts beat the Titans 19-17. You know why he's playing out of his mind? They finally paying him. You know, he didn't make but $400,000 a year coming into this year. Did y'all know that?
That's amazing.
Yeah, he was making the league minimum. League minimum's $500,000.
Well, I'll tell you who's doing a heck of a job.
I did hear sad news out of Dallas that they released Jordan Chun earlier this week. I forgot to mention that.
Well, maybe somebody pick him up. Want to remind you that Truck Talk with Wiley Sanders Truck Lines and Hoss Daddy is coming up right after today's show. So stay tuned for Truck Talk with Wiley Sanders Truck Lines right here in Troy and across the world. And we appreciate them so much being a part of our show. And they're just wonderful people. 49ers walloped the Bengals 41-17. The Patriots killed the Dolphins 43-0.
Mr. Controversy, Antonio Brown actually caught a touchdown that game.
Oh, man, why they let him play, I don't know. The Seahawks beat the Steelers 28-26. So the Steelers are in trouble. They're really, Roethlisberger's been hurt. And also the Packers beat the Vikings 21-16. The Chiefs beat the Raiders 28-10. And the Rams beat the Saints.
Josh Jacobs had a good game, though. He rushed for 99 yards for the Raiders.
Yeah. Of course, then the Rams beat the Saints 27-9. And the quarterback is out, Mike. Brees. Drew Brees.
Quarterback Drew Brees is hurt, so that's going to be a big loss if he doesn't come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed today's show, and of course, our version of quarterback.
Monday morning
quarterback, and I'm sure we'll have a Tuesday and Wednesday morning next week. Hope you've enjoyed our show. Get ready for the Truck Talk with Wiley Sanders Truck Lines and my good friend Jeffrey Bennett. See you then.
Piggly Wiggly's local butchers are on site at both stores and will help you select the best cuts of meat and trim them to your liking. Our USDA choice beef is the most consistently tender